Hey everyone, today I'm here in Charlotte, North Carolina at a Ritchie Brothers auction. We are picking up a PC200 excavator and hauling up to Harrisburg, PA. So this is what we got. A big old excavator. And first things first, we're gonna have to clean this dirt off of here. Well, it seems to run pretty good. The guy here at the auction, he said that this is one of the better ones here. No tie down points in there. It's alright, we'll go to the tracks. But yeah, it's still got all this dirt and everything caked in here. We're gonna knock all that off of there so it doesn't come flying off while we're on the road. But let's get dropped out and get her up on the trailer. My shovel for just such an occasion, because we got to clean that thing off before we can put it on the trailer. That should be good. Nothing too crazy. But we knocked all the big stuff off of it, so it looks a lot better there. And no big rocks to go flying around and destroy anybody's windshield or anything like that. So now we'll get this thing loaded up onto the trailer. almost forgot to get my chains out of there, which would not have been good. So let's get those out. And I'll set you guys right there. I think I have it positioned where I want it. It looks even. So I had a bigger block under there, but I felt like that kept the stick too high, or the boom too high. So put that smaller one under. I think we're good now. So now we're gonna back under the trailer and get the weight onto the truck and the trailer axles and see where we're at. And then we'll see if we have this positioned correctly and get our permits pulled, chain it down, and head up the road. All right, we are sitting at 68 psi on the tandem. Let's go look at the trailer. We are right at 60 pounds on the trailer, so this thing's not that heavy. I'd say it's probably 50,000 pounds, around there. So I'm gonna call back to the home base and get her to start pulling permits based on this weight, and then we will get it chained down and head out. got our chain down. We have 6 1/2-inch chains and a 3/8 chain across the boom. So that is more than enough. Now we got to get an exhaust cover on it and flags and banners and turn my lights on, and then we'll be ready to rock. So we'll do the exhaust cover first. Oh, look, they got a little loop right there for it. Perfect. There we go. Again, those exhaust covers, they keep air from getting into the exhaust and going down to the turbo and spinning the turbo while the engine is not running. If the engine is not running, then the turbo is not getting oil and it is not getting cooled. And at, you know, 65 miles an hour, it's a lot of wind going into that exhaust. It can actually damage the turbo with no oil there lubricating it. So that's the reason for those. Now we'll put some flags on it. License plates. So technically in North Carolina, pretty much all of our states except for West Virginia, we would only have to fly those flags and banners. But we do have to drive through West Virginia, and West Virginia requires flags at all 4 corners of the truck and trailer. So we'll just go ahead and put these on there now. That way when we get to West Virginia, we don't have to stop and do it. Alright guys, we are all done chaining down and banners and everything. I am going to go and take some pictures for the broker. I'll have to print out my BOL, and then maybe I'll put you guys up on top. You can ride along and get a little scenery on the way. So I'll go get that done, and then we will head north. All right. All right. So we just stopped here in Mount Airy, North Carolina at the Flying J. Got all fueled up, and then we rolled across the scales here to get our weights so we can pull our permits. We pulled North Carolina and Virginia because in North Carolina you don't even have to put axle weights in unless you're over 120,000 pounds. So we were good in North Carolina, and then Virginia, the price of the permit does not change. Whether if you're 98,000 or 105,000. So we always just permit heavy in Virginia. I don't know what the cutoff for that is. It's probably around 120,000 as well. But we always just permit heavy in Virginia, and then we know we're good. But most other states like Maryland, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, which is the other three we have to pull this load through, it is based on weight. So we wanted to get an accurate weight on our axles so that we can pull those permits and not be paying for too much weight. It's $14 for a scale ticket. It might be another, $10 or $15 per state to if we pull them heavy, and then we didn't need to pay them. So that's why we did that. Plus, we weren't full of fuel when we loaded this. So now we're full of fuel, so we have an actual weight with fuel. But now we can jump back onto 77 and continue our journey up to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So when I do have my weights, I'll give them to you guys here in a minute. Once I get rolling here. So our steer axle was at 13,440. Our drive axles on the truck were 38,940. And our trident on the trailer was at 46,380 pounds for a grand total of 98,760 pounds. So I think we permitted Virginia for like 102,000. So we're definitely covered there. But, if we'd have pulled that in other states, we're paying for an extra 4,000 pounds that we meant to pay. So I figured it saved us money in the long run, not having to pay the extra fee for the permit. We just paid for the scale ticket and knowing what our weights are actually at. We usually get pretty close, going by the gauge pressures in the airbags on the truck and on the trailer. But so a pound of pressure in the airbags on the truck is roughly, we have figured out, about 500 pounds in weight. And then on the trailer, 1 psi of pressure in the gauge is equal to about 2,000 pounds. So you could be off, especially on the trailer, you might be off by 1,500 pounds. And on the truck, you could be off by, 500 pounds. And it could swing either way, So 70 psi could be 38,940. So 70 pounds could be 39,000. Or it could be just shy of 71 and be closer to 40,000. So we try to get an idea from the gauges, but it's nice to get an actual fee for you pay for permits that are dependent. There's a line here shifting. set for the rest of the day. Got our weights, and we will keep on rolling. We're due into the lot working park probably around 6:15 tonight, or 6:30, which is not bad at all. I like being able to go out for a night and then get back home the next night. So this load delivers over to Harrisburg, PA, which is about a half an hour from the house. And then we actually grabbed another load out of Carlisle from the Keene yard going up to Connecticut. Not paying great. It's about $3 a mile round trip for us, but it does add a load on to the end of the week, and you never know. We could get something out of Connecticut. Not likely, but it could happen. All right, here is the weigh station. Usually, North Carolina is not bad. I stopped at the scale on the other side last night coming down, and they just put me on the scale and they gave me a green light. So hopefully that'll be the case here too. But let me get off the video here and scale it and keep rolling. Stopped here at the scale in Virginia. We got to go in and show the permit in here in the office, so I'm going to go do that. Be right back. We have successfully made it back home. So I'm gonna get parked for the night and then back at it in the morning, run this over to Harrisburg, and then pick up the next one. So thanks for riding along today, guys. Good morning, everyone. Kind of cold this morning, 34 degrees. We are headed over to Harrisburg to get this Komatsu PC200 delivered. Trying to get over there, get to delivery by 7 because there's a curfew for oversize in Harrisburg. I believe that starts at 7. So I'm gonna be there a little early before everybody else is, but we can get it unloaded. I've been to this place before. They have a big area in front of the gate. I called yesterday and the guy said, you know, if you want to get there and unload it yourself, feel free to do that. So that is what we are going to do. Well, it's only 21 miles. So it shouldn't take too long this morning. And then we come back over here, right back to the Keene yard. Probably grab fuel before that. So we have a 9:25 appointment for another excavator. This one's going up to Connecticut. You guys enjoy the ride up there, and yeah, I'll talk to you when we get over there and start unloading. right, we have arrived here at Leon Equipment in Harrisburg. I'm gonna go ahead and get broken down, and we'll get this thing offloaded so that when they show up, you can see the gate's closed right now. They come in at 8. We're here early so we can get this thing unloaded and then head for our next load. So let's go get it done. Alright, we are all unchained. Now let's climb up in this thing and see if she'll start this morning. Oh yeah, this bad boy fires right up. All right, so let's go break the truck down and then we'll get this thing unloaded. Time to run this thing off the trailer. Alright guys, there it is. Got this Komatsu delivered. Well, we got it unloaded anyway. Now we just got to get hooked back up to the trailer, and then we got to wait for everybody to show up, and we'll get paperwork signed and we'll be done. Alright guys, that's this one all wrapped up. We are all delivered, paperwork signed, and we will head on to the next one. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching these videos. I appreciate all the comments, all the likes, all the subscriptions. Yeah, let me know in the comments below if you like the content, you want me to change something, if you'd like to see more of something. I can only do so much about the types of loads I get, but you know, camera work or editing or something that you don't like or something you want to see, let me know and I will try to work it in. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe below and leave a comment. Let me know what you think.